Just when I thought that my recordings for the day were over, we get breaking news. Not going to call it a surprise. Going to call it something we probably more or less expected, or at least I more or less expected. I'll show you the tweet, which is where the news became official, as far as I know, from Cherie DeVaux' Twitter account. After much thoughtful discussion as a team, we've decided the Golden Tempo will bypass the Preakness Stakes. We're incredibly appreciative of the excitement and support surrounding the possibility of a Triple Crown run. The enthusiasm from racing fans, our owners, and our entire team has meant more to us than we can properly express. Golden gave us the race of a lifetime in the Kentucky Derby, and we believe the best decision for him moving forward is to give him a little more time following such a tremendous effort. His health, happiness, and long-term future will always remain our top priority. We're looking forward to pointing him toward the Belmont Stakes and are excited for what lies ahead with this very special horse. Thank you again to everyone who has supported and believed in this journey alongside us. JK, there it is, the official announcement, done with tremendous class by the DeVaux team. But what do you think of this? What is your reaction to the news that Golden Tempo will now become the 5th Derby winner in 8 years to decide to skip the Preakness Stakes?
Well, I mean, it's, as a racing fan, it's like a little bit of a bummer, right? I also think that as someone who plans to sit on the desk for the Belmont on Fox for my 4th straight year, selfishly, it's a lot more fun. I think, obviously if you have a Triple Crown alive. So, I mean, getting those two things out of the way that shouldn't matter too much to anyone else. I find myself annoyed by the conversation, which I've already had like 3 times since the announcement about how they need to move it. And like
change the spacing of the Triple Crown, you mean?
Yeah, change the spacing. I think we both agree, and partly in this game and in other games and in life in general, I am really very passionately not a results oriented type of person. I am a believe in the process, believe in everything else, and then don't let results that could be outliers have you rethink and change everything that you believe to be true. It's exactly how I feel about this. I know you're going to throw some stats at me about this, but I think that it's circumstantial, and I think that it's been back-to-back circumstance. I do not think Golden Tempo was going to win the Triple Crown. I do think that Sovereignty would have won the Triple Crown, and I think that the Triple Crown is special because it's hard to accomplish. It's hard to do, and while I do believe wholeheartedly in changing things to make them better in the long run, I don't know how much of an impact 2 years of not having a horse eligible or, still drawing live for the Triple Crown affects the game. I just don't think it's that big of a deal at the surface.
So much to unpack from what you said. Let's start with the one that makes me the craziest, which is the idea that spacing the races differently would make it easier. I'd argue it'd make it harder. To me, what makes the Triple Crown special is having rivalries and having all those stories and narratives that everybody gets familiar with for the Derby to be able to then tune in to the Preakness a couple weeks later, and then maybe 3. I'm not saying put them a month apart. I'm not saying put one in the winter. We're talking about changing 5 weeks, maybe to 8 weeks. Where if you get the same horses in the gate, the same narratives, I believe you can, as a broadcaster, then come Belmont Day, tell better stories about 3 horses. And I mean, do you truly believe it would be easier if there were more? The best horses run in the Derby. And you take them out, I think it becomes easier, not harder. So we'll get to the other points you made, but let's start with that one.
Yeah, easier is not necessarily what my passion is about. It's that it's going to be easier. You're taking away the importance of it. No, but I do think that it, I do just appreciate that it is what it is, right? I do appreciate that this is how it happens. I mean, some might argue that the Super Bowl would be better played if it was 5 weeks after, right? You're going to get the more true result after the AFC and NFC championship games, right? You get a full healthy team back. Everyone can be there to participate. You're not going to have a starting quarterback be hurt, so on and so forth. Starting running backs being hurt, wondering if Patrick Mahomes is going to be limping around. But no, I like just play it like it is, and that's kind of how I feel about that. I agree with you. I don't necessarily think it would be quote easier.
But there's other things to discuss for sure. I mean, the the football analogy, I usually love your football analogies. I do think football is a game of rhythm and making teams take that much time off. I mean, we've seen in college how deleterious that can just be to the style of playing field, but we don't need to go down that rabbit hole. The other point that I'll take issue with what you said is you're talking about it like it's an anomaly. I mean, this was something that for 50 years longer in a row, maybe one or two horses didn't do. Now it's 5 and 8 years. But to me, the more telling stat is about the other horses. You know, I don't love the idea of the Preakness just being the way it is now. It seems almost certain to me that to come back in 2 weeks, you're only going to see maybe one or two randos and the Derby winner. The horsemen clear whatever we think is horse players. And for a long time, I argued on your side on this one. But whatever we think is horse players, do we really know better than the people associated with these animals? I don't think so.
No, of course, but so I'm gonna it's your stat, but I'm gonna use your stat, right? 5 of the last 8 you said have passed.
Yeah. Again, though, my bigger point would be about like, and I don't have this stat, but if you could look at like how it used to be, how many of the whole field came back in 2 weeks versus now, it's a minuscule. The game has changed, and the horsemen clearly don't believe it's in the best interest of their horses, or the horsewomen too, to come back in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think I have a good answer for this. So the first one is that there obviously is a change, a little bit of a shift in what horsemen think is best for horses, right? Giving them a little bit more time in between races and trying to maximize and optimize those performances and get the best performances. And so there is that to take into consideration. The other thing that I would say that I think probably also has an impact is that let's not overreact about the last 2 years. In my opinion, of the last 8 races, 5 of them skipping, of those 5 that skipped, 3 of them were no hopers or had issues. I think that, you know, the Medina Spirit thing, Mandaloon thing, that's obviously a little bit of a trickier situation. Rich Strike. And who was the other one you said?
Who else would have missed? The skippers were Golden Tempo, Sovereignty, Rich Strike, the 2021 year, Medina Spirit, Mandaloon, however you want to call it. And then, of course, Country House, who never ran again.
Yeah, right. Country House, God bless everyone involved. Not a very good horse in terms of like going to like give you this chance to win a Triple Crown. The same can be said about Rich Strike. Obviously, I don't have to elaborate on that one.
Actually, I lied. I think I lied to you. Did Medina Spirit run in? I think Medina Spirit ran in the Preakness.
Yeah, he did run. He did run.
He did
run very well.
Oops.
He did run.
Hopefully, we get 17 comments about that.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so but the point I think is this, which is a long way for me to get to this. And sorry about the delay, but I wanted to get that out. These last 2 are actual horses that could have won the Triple Crown. I don't think Golden Tempo would have, based on the way the race unfolded last time. Could have. Sovereignty, obviously, definitely. I do believe that the main reason that we're seeing it thrown in our face these last 2 years is because of the attractiveness of being able to run in 5 weeks at Saratoga in a 1.25 mile race.
That's
and I do believe that when you get back downstate in 5 weeks from now, there's a bunch of 3-year-olds that are looking at a 1.5 mile race that they might not want to necessarily have their horse participate in. That 2-week Preakness opportunity for a grade 1 gets a little bit more attractive. Where then the race that gets skipped is the Belmont. Right. And they run in the Preakness as their last chance, their last kind of spring run. And then they start pointing Haskell, Jim Dandy, Travers, and they skip the Belmont. So I think that there's a little bit of an overreaction these last 2 years because there's been a very sexy social opportunity at a special time to go to Belmont and be a part of that kind of history-making thing at Saratoga. But there's also an 1/8 of a mile shorter that I think, a 1/4 of a mile shorter that they're able to
JK
deal
tries
with.
math, succeeds. I hadn't thought of it that way. I think that's really interesting. I just contend it's not just about the winners coming back. It's about horses running in multiple legs. We're seeing it less and less for the reasons of the way that the modern horsemen look at the game.
Here's one thing we should do. If you're in the comments, this is what I want people to look at. It's probably very easy to do with AI now. I want to know how many 2-leg runners there have been in the last 10 years. And I bet it's not that far off.
I'll do a full study on this. I'll pop it up at the dailytoderby.com website. We'll hit it over at inthemoneypodcast.com as well, but we can also get into it in the comments. Obviously, we're on different sides of this one. We want to hear what you think down there, people. Let us know. Is the 5 weeks okay? I'm not saying anything radical, by the way. I'm talking about, 7-8 weeks. You still have the 3 races. Maybe you get a lot more of these stars back in all 3. Maybe you can have it become a series like it used to be before they abandoned it, because I think it was just too much, where you could earn points and win a big bonus for competing in the 3 races. I think there's some marketing opportunities here. I don't think there's any magic to the 5 weeks personally. At the same time, I do have sympathy for your point of view, JK, because and this is why I get away from any radical change in things. This is one of the things the game does that works. And the Preakness is still a huge betting race. And I don't know that the Derby winner, I mean, yes, there's going to be less bet on the race without Golden Tempo in it, but it's still going to attract plenty of betting attention. And you do have to take care when you're changing things. But a week here, a week there, God forbid some cooperation between 3 different racing entities, I think the game would be better for it. I'm going to leave it there. You have any closing thoughts on this one?
In fairness, it's cooperation between 2 racing entities, because one of them definitely ain't moving.
That's right. That's right. Derby is the Derby. I should have said that. And for those wondering, owning the IP, as Churchill Downs now does for Maryland Racing, does not entitle them to move the race. It just means that they own all the intellectual property associated with it. It's a weird story that I'm sure, as the TV rights come up, we'll be following much more. For those of you who want to go down the rabbit hole, it is kind of funny how much of the future of this stuff in the end is probably going to come down to TV rights. Speaking of TV rights, you can see Jonathon Kinchen on the Fox broadcast of the Belmont Stakes this year. Preakness will be with our friends over at NBC. We'll be checking in with Randy and Jerry ahead of that leg, and I'm sure we'll have to take their temperature on this question as well. Drop in the comments what you think. Thanks you all out there for subscribing to the In the Money Media YouTube channel.